Welcome to the Resiliency of the Human Spirit podcast, where we share all about human triumphs for the collective's healing and empowerment. I am your host, Priscilla Hanley. My guest today is Leslie, also known as Like Being Love. Leslie, also known as Like Being Love on social media and her YouTube and TikTok channels, serves as a moderator for the UAP Society and Hello Ellie on YouTube and Discord. Leslie interviews individuals with unique experiences, from NDEs to ET experiences, energy healers, and channelers. While overcoming personal challenges and dark nights of the soul, Leslie experienced a spiritual awakening. Her spiritual journey transformed her perspective, inspiring inner work and healing. She shares her spiritual awakening to empower others, promoting love, positivity, spirituality, and the co creation of a beautiful world. Without further ado, I'm going to bring Leslie on right now. Hi, Leslie.
Hello. Thank
How's
you
it
for
going?
having me.
Thank you for taking the time to join us today. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you. And you?
I'm good. I love your background there. The bird's really pretty.
Yeah, it's one of my spirit animals, the
Oh,
hawk. And so I thought,
wonderful.
that could be fun. So I
Yeah,
went with it.
yeah.
I
Well,
have one of my guides with me, so
exactly, exactly. So we
yeah.
have very interesting topics to cover today. So I'm just going to start and ask you to share your story about how your journey led you to explore all these interesting topics.
Well, I just had a life journey like many of us do, and my childhood, was okay. I come from a dysfunctional family. I had an angry father who loved to scream and yell at us. So we had to deal with a bit of emotional abuse in that way. My mother, she was an addict in multiple ways, gambling being one of those. So, we didn't get much or do many extracurricular things. So I connected a lot with nature and my pets and a soul connection with God, source, whatever you want to call all that is. But I felt very strongly connected, and I feel like through my life that has never really gone away. So from there, I ended up leaving and getting married very young at 17. I did start to create a life. We had, friends, and we were having fun. I was young, but someone who was very close to me in a moment of anger let me know that there was cheating that happened between my husband and this person. So that drastically changed my life. I went into a pretty dark time period, I guess you could say. From there, I left that life, the lifestyle, the friends, the husband, and I felt very lonely. I ended up going on what I called a spiritual journey, and it was a long 2 month road trip out west. This is probably 2 years after all of that, but it was a very spiritual journey, and I saw many beautiful places in nature. And one of those was the Grand Canyon, which we were arriving there right at dawn, and this magnificent green fireball was just slowly going across the windshield. It was just amazing, really, and breathtaking. And I'll just never forget that moment. But so upon my return, there was other things in that, but I guess I won't go too much into that journey. But there was multiple instances. One where I think I possibly might have saw some alien beings, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened there. But anyway, so yeah, it was a neat experience, the whole trip. But anyway, upon my return, I returned to my workplace that I had left for a couple months. And that is where I first met my now husband, who was also, it was a very spiritual moment. I didn't necessarily meet him that day, but there was this golden light like around him when I arrived and walked in. I couldn't even make him out. The light was so bright around him, and it was like a reflection through glass in the sun, but it was just like significant to me. It was like, okay, well, this is interesting. And then it turned out that he also had like a moment when he first saw me. And then, so yeah, we pretty much fell in love and hit it off. And we spent a long time in our marriage, both into conspiracy theories, believe it or not. So we kind of both delved into that together. And we were like the team of you know, figuring out what's the truth is. We were truth seekers together. And so eventually we ended up having a lot of troubles. Like I guess most marriages, you have, you know, things to work through, and we did. And we're having a hard time working through those things. And so we are still together. It's been 18 years now, but 8 years into the marriage, we did have our first child. So turns out early on we knew, but at age 3, he was diagnosed with autism. So that really changed things in my, focus. So my focus went from conspiracies to researching autism, partially the conspiracy side of autism, but how I could help my son and whatever I could do for that. So I spent about 3 years researching that. Meanwhile, my marriage struggled more because of this added challenge that we both faced, which I'll just add that my son is amazing, and I am so thankful to have him in my life. And I think he's a part of where I'm at now with my spiritual awakening as well. So having him in my life. So let's see. Yeah, so I researched autism, and then meanwhile, struggling more with the marriage, I realized somehow I came across an NDE. It's Betty J. Eady, her story, and it's called Embraced by the Light. So this book was actually introduced to me probably 15 years prior, which I read it back then and kind of forgot about it. I don't know how, but I did. But when I was reintroduced it, which was very synchronistic, by the way, because it was the same book and everything else, but I saw the book, I read the book again, and it did. I basically think I was embraced by the light at that point. So I obsessively, you could say, that's when my research went from that to like self-healing, spirituality, Abraham Hicks with the law of attraction, and I was going deep into many outlets, I guess you could say, but NDEs were the main one that probably changed me, as I'm no longer who I once was, which is what I get a lot from the people around me, including my husband at this time. We're still working through things, but I have hope for us to meet in the middle somewhere, but we'll see what happens there. But I'll show you this book, which we both really, let's see, is that gonna work?
Oh yeah, I see it a little bit.
Do you?
Now you're disappearing.
Oh wait, there it
There you
goes.
go.
So
Okay.
it's an old book, Bradshaw on the family, and
Okay.
it just really makes you really dig deep into the generations, your parents, their parents, like the stuff that's passed down from behaviors to what he called pedagogy or something, but it's just basically like it's not the right way to think. Like what's happening now with, I think, a lot of people, the increase in consciousness and awakening, it's like stuff that most people on that journey would see now. You know what I mean? So it opened me up to look at things when I wasn't yet spiritually awakened, I guess. I don't know. So I did kind of go the shadow work route first, I think, is how that happened. But it made me realize a lot of my things that I needed to have healthier boundaries. Like I realized I was more of like an empath, and I was taking on like a lot of stuff. And so working around that, and I guess not being as codependent is the word I was looking for, but like I had some codependency, and it was because of my childhood and just different things. I don't know, but I've done a lot of work on myself, and I'm still doing that. So 2020, that's when we did the whole like digging deep, because we were home and things had really come more to, we were just around each other too much. I'm sure a lot of people probably experienced that, just being enclosed in tight spaces for a long time with somebody. It can get ugly. But so, yeah, we chose to try to like dig, and we did a lot of good work back then, I have to say. So I delved deep into like all things spiritual, basically. Was way into the channelers. I've seen probably 700 or so near-death experience accounts, between books and videos, a lot of videos. It all started with books, though. I have so many books that I was not a big reader in my life, but during this time, something was pushing me to just figure out what's going on. And when you figure it out, which of course you don't always all the way figure it out, but you do come to the conclusion, okay, I'm not my body. This is like, well, I'm a spiritual being. I'm in a body. I've had multiple lives. We've had multiple past lives, which time apparently is an illusion. You come to that understanding as well.
I would say
You know,
parallel lives, not past life, because
exactly. I was
everything's
gonna say
happening
that.
at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Simultaneously.
Yeah. And just to start understanding and being able to grasp like the nature of the real reality, you see everything from a whole new, bigger perspective. And you're no longer focused on the insignificant things in life that you might have once let get to you. You know what I mean? It's like there's a reason for everything. All the sayings have truth to them, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know, you just become grateful for the experience, and all these things actually play together to, I think, have an awakening is like the awareness of what and who you truly are, the power that you actually have within, and to just observe yourself and realize how we are programmed by our family and by society and everything, news, shows, like all of it. And it's just, it's not, none of it is talking about who we really are and what we can really do with our lives and how we can think in a more positive way. And so I feel the conspiracy part of me feels like, you know, there is a purposeful suppression of our spiritual nature and of these gifts that we all have within that we could all probably, you know, with practice do mediumship to some extent or telepathy or channel or, you know, as a matter of fact, people are channeling all the time when it comes to music. You know, they're channeling that. When people think of inventions, that's like they're channeling that. You know, these are, they're pulling this from inspiration from their imagination, which is creating, and that's what we are, creators. And I've come to that understanding. It's like not only are we spirit, I mean, we're literally creating our life by the way we feel, the way we think, you know, our what we're projecting out. We are magnets basically for what we're internally feeling and thinking. It's hard for a lot of people to understand that, and I get a lot of like pushback saying that. And you know, the big questions come like, well, you know, what about sick children or innocent people that, you know, and I mean, that's where it goes deeper with the NDEs. You know, we have soul contracts and we have blueprints, and this, since time is really not a thing anywhere else except for here on earth, this life is like a flash, a blink of an eye on the eternal existence that we have as a soul or spiritual being. And so for that soul it sounds harsh, I guess, but it's really not, because if you look from the bigger perspective, you understand that it's just, this is a flash of time. We're here, we're learning all these challenges. We agreed to these challenges, you know, we said, okay, so for all you out there who are really struggling, like, you're hardcore, you know, you said, hey, I'm gonna do this, and this, and which is amazing. And everybody's like, wow, that's awesome, go ahead, you know, and like cheering you on. So that's my hope, really, is that everybody realizes that they are truly a spiritual being, that everything is really okay. And if anybody's really struggling to know, it might be hard to understand how you might have chose this. And there's also free will. It's not like everything was laid out, and if we're unconsciously creating, because regardless, we're creating. And so if we don't realize that we're doing it and we're stuck in these negative patterns, we're going to create more negative stuff in our life. You know what I mean? So when you become conscious, you can try to like train yourself or your brain or whatever, your behavioral habits that are not good or negative or whatever, to stop doing those things. And you basically become an observer of yourself to fix all of the negative programming, basically.
I don't know whether you're familiar with Bashar.
Oh, yes.
Bashar says that Earth is the graduating masterclass. So it's a very difficult reality, and master souls really come into this difficult reality. Let's talk a little bit about soul contracts and soul agreements. From my perspective, before we incarnate here, we do agree to X, Y, and Z experiences, right? To enrich our soul. So when we come here, we forget about who we truly are. We have amnesia, and we're in a reality that is so polarized with right, wrong, good, bad. And so we get sucked into this polarity where, in actual fact, we agreed to experience so-called negative experiences for our soul's evolution, right? We forget that.
Right.
So I so resonate with your message. And now I'm really intrigued with that fireball that you saw. Do you think that was like an extraterrestrial
I
ship?
I questioned it more recently during UAP Society, like a contest that was happening with the Lato files. But so somebody was talking about green fireballs, and then I was like, wow, that it made me think of that. But of
Mm,
course, I thought some sort of meteor, or I don't know, whatever it's called that you see that comes to Earth, but it was just so big and so slow and so different, and the color and everything. It was different, and I'll never like forget the vision
ah,
and everything,
right.
like the experience. But yeah, but yeah, now I do question, and especially because of the other experience that we had in Colorado in the mountains. We were camping, and that's where we saw it was, I was with my friend and her young son. So it was three of us on
Mm-hmm.
this road trip. And then, but it was like, two men and a young girl, like a copy of us, but backwards. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, right. Okay. Yep.
And
Yep.
then we didn't talk to the men, but they were at a distance. And, we had gotten the camp set up. We had a fire going, and then we saw their fire going, and they're sitting by the fire, and they just stared at us with these like beaming eyes that seemed like not to blink from. It was just very strange feeling, and staring with
Uh-huh.
no blinking. And then that little girl came to our campsite and went in the tent with her son and like played for like 10 minutes and then went back over there, which was very unusual. Like we didn't even have
Oh,
contact with these men, and they were like 5 or 6 years old, the kids. I just thought
okay.
that was strange. So,
So what did
and that
the
was that.
your friend's son say about that encounter with the girl?
I need to ask him personally because I have yet to do that. I've mentioned
Okay.
it multiple times to my friends since over the years. Like, I think that might have been like, aliens or something is what the word I would have used then. I don't use that word so much anymore, but you know, who knows what that was? It could have just been the two guys who just let the 6-year-old girl come over by us. I don't know, but and I don't know. Yeah, I had different thoughts going on with that at the time, but that being one of those. But what I did want to say when you mentioned the soul contracts and the forgetting when we're here,
Mm-hmm.
children do have memories of past lives and times before.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, age like 2, 3 would be like the prime ages for that.
Right.
But like by age 7, they're like losing those
Right.
memories, and they're attached or more grounded into like this world. I had experience with my child actually remembering stuff that
Oh,
wasn't so
wow.
fun. He was scared,
Oh,
and it was like a tornado. He mentioned tornado multiple times, but he was driving a car and things like that. So yeah, I think something happened in the midst of working in a tornado and probably trying to escape or something. I don't That was my conclusion
okay.
with what I gathered, but he was worried about his friends who were in the car with him.
Oh,
Yeah. So I just assured him, and I of course looked into this at the time as well, and it kind of tied into my awakening time too. So I might have been somewhat aware of this already, because at one point I like binge watched a bunch of shows about past lives and kids remembering. I don't know if you've seen
mm-mm.
any of those, but it's amazing. They can like backtrack and find the evidence of what the child's saying, the names they're putting out,
Oh,
like
wow.
everything. They can go back and find the life that child is saying they lived.
Oh,
And there's like
wow.
no way that a 3 or 5 year old can gnosis.
Remember.
So yeah, it's pretty amazing with all that. But yeah, so with children, you should never, and this goes with, and this is what I've learned through, my research and everything. But like if your child has an imaginary friend, or, whatever, they might actually be talking to, spirits, and it doesn't mean they're bad spirits. It could be like guardian angels, or to like a grandmother that's passed, or just a friendly somebody there that your
Mm-hmm.
child can see, and
Right.
to not make them feel like they're not seeing what they're seeing. That could really mess with a child, but you want to just listen to them. And if they tell you memories of another life, just listen, give them comfort. And so what I did, I think instinctively, because I felt bad for him, was just tell him, everybody's okay, because I did know no matter what, everybody is okay at
Yep.
that point. But
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I'm like, everybody's good and you're okay and you're here now, and I love you and you're awesome, and just hugs and love, anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to say that, talking about the soul contracts. Dolores Cannon calls it Earth School. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
you're familiar with
Yeah.
Dolores Cannon, but
Yeah.
so yeah, that goes into, I feel like we are in Earth School, and it's basically to evolve. Love is my saying, so I use that, evolve love.
Mm-hmm.
But it's to evolve our spiritual awareness, our connection, and knowing of who and what we are. I think that's really what we're doing here. At least I feel that way, and I feel like a lot of people are on that same track, and it's like a fast moving train right now.
Oh yeah. Like I go back to Bashar again. He said that we all jumped on the Earth train. We didn't give two thoughts about it. We were so excited and we just jumped on the Earth train because I think this experience is so different from our natural state. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Right? We're all spirit beings, and so I don't know how it's like on the other side, but my point is this reality is so different from what we used to as spirit
It's like
beings.
condensed. We're like put into this tiny little vessel, which,
Right.
our spirit is giant. I know in the NDEs you have 360 vision, you're basically like an
Mm-hmm.
orb, or you can be like any shape you want, I guess, but
Right.
I think the natural state is like orb in a light. You're
Right.
like an light orb,
Yep.
and you can see everything. It's all telepathic. So the senses, you have all like the senses, I guess, that you could think of. And there's more colors and everything. This is like a shadow place in comparison. What do we have? Five or seven senses? I don't know, what, five
I
senses? Is
think
that?
it's five physical senses, but we have more.
Yeah.
We
So
have the clairs. I guess you got five, six clairs,
that's
the
true. I'm
clair
talking about the
senses.
human senses. There's the sight, feel, touch, hear,
Taste,
what, taste.
smell.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
so
like
it's
very
five,
limited.
yeah.
We're confined in this body. It doesn't really feel like it now, but once that people who have NDEs and come back in say it's no fun to come back into the body, because
Right.
it's like, whoa, this is like, and so yeah, it's a big step that we take to come here, I guess, but we are excited about it, and it's because it's awesome to have this experience. And so even the challenges and everything else, to have the understanding
Mm-hmm.
and to know that we can choose how we're going to feel. I actually wrote something, but let me see. Each moment we have a choice. Each moment we have a choice, and each choice creates the timeline and
Mm.
frequency you're on. Our feelings and choices create our reality. We can choose our feelings and choose a new perspective. Each moment is so important because that's where we are creating, and it's also all we truly have is
Mm-hmm.
the now moment. So, like, to have the understanding that it's all like now, and if we're thinking too much
In the
in the past,
past,
yeah,
yeah.
and
The past
that,
is over and the future is
yeah,
not here yet.
yeah. So it's like you're either like in a depressive state, you know, thinking about all the bad things in your past. I mean, it's okay
Right.
to think about good things.
Right.
Think about all the good things. But anyway, let go of what's happened, and you have
Mm-hmm.
to forgive yourself, others. You cannot hold on to that. That's a freedom, a sense of freedom, to be able to forgive others. Like, it really does good things. And I went through that with that person that was close to me.
Mm-hmm.
It took me 7 years, but I did before my spiritual awakening. And that probably helped me come to where I'm at, but was to let that go, because that was challenging. But anyway, we have a decent relationship now. Actually, I'm not with
That's
not
great.
with the ex-husband or whatever, but this person was in my life for a very long time.
I just want to add, you said we can choose our thoughts and emotions, right? So
Yeah, did I
by,
finish reading that? Yeah,
yeah, you
in the now
did.
moment. Like we're literally,
Yeah,
this is where we're creating is right now. So with me and you, we're creating right now. You
exactly.
know what I
Co-creating. We're always
mean?
co-creating. I just wanted to add, when we change our thoughts and feelings in this now moment, we actually change our timeline. We shift to
Yes,
another timeline.
that's what I was trying to say in that as well. That is pretty much what it is. People talk about timelines a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's my understanding, and that's where I'm gonna stick with that way of thinking because it really keeps you on track. Of course, I have my human moments more
Right,
often than
right.
I would like, but I'm quicker to stop myself and
Snap
like,
out of it.
but yeah, we do have big emotions that can come up in us, but it's about how to learn to manage that
Mm-hmm.
and to realize that we can look at things differently. And if we're taking other people's stuff, to realize that that's happening and to, cut that off basically and keep yourself in a state to
Right.
not go
Regress.
down go
Right.
down. I have challenges every day and I'm just so thankful for my awareness at this point because I'm gliding through things easily,
Good for you.
yeah, I had a vehicle. I wrecked my vehicle recently.
Oh,
I see all the good things about it too because there
well,
was
the
a lot of
good,
things like I'm alive, for one.
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Good thing is that you're not hurt.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm able to see all these good things and the way it worked out for us is the expense part worked out really well too. And I've had thought it was worse than it was and all this stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, everything's working out in a time where we'll have the finances to actually cover it. So I'm sure there's a reason that that happened. But
That's always a reason.
maybe just for the experience. That was my first real accident. So,
Might be.
yeah.
I want to shift to NDEs. You said NDEs was your really big topic that really opened you up. You did a lot of research on NDEs, right? So
Yeah, I've pretty much delved in with that.
what stands out for you from your research about NDEs?
Well, the truth that we are spirit beings, or you could say energy beings. We are light, we are love. Like all
Mm-hmm.
these words you could say is what we truly are.
Okay.
And which is a part of God or source. We are directly sparks of God here experiencing this life and it from my understanding it is to come to the understanding that of what we are, I think. And I feel like the NDEs, the people giving their testimonies, are doing that they feel like they have to tell people. It's like they have to give this message out. There's like either they were told or just have this
Mm-hmm.
instinct, like this is what I'm supposed to do. And so this is happening. And it's very clear to me that there's a message trying to get out. Same thing with channelers, even back in the day. Seth Speaks was
Right. So yeah,
the first book,
I'm familiar
well
with Seth.
after,
Yep.
but that was after actually this because this is what made me know about
Ah,
this
yes.
is the Abraham Hicks. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Is it
there we go. Okay,
Law
got
of
it.
Attraction? Um so yeah, I initially started working on using the law of attraction in my life. And this is after I was creating better boundaries and realizing my own stuff I needed to work through. And then started trying to use the law of attraction. And then in there, she speaks about Seth. And so I ended up
Mm,
I say books are finding me because I was going to like thrift stores and things for books at the time,
okay.
just stopping to seeing what was there, and they were just every time there'd be like some amazing book, like exactly what I'm trying to find, and it's like, but yeah, so that was probably the biggest one. I got this for $1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like a 400-page book, but I started reading the book and I didn't stop. I pretty much I read it straight through without
Well,
stopping.
that's awesome because
I highly recommend it.
I started reading Seth and I kind of had to put it down because it got to be a bit too much for my brain.
I could see that, yes, but somehow I was absorbing it like
Oh, very good. Yeah.
completely, and it may have because it was coinciding with the near death experience stuff, and it was matching up, and with the law of attraction, like even near death experiences talk about the law of attraction, so it's not just
Mm,
channelers that speak on that. They all kind of say the same thing, from mediums to near death experiencers. and then Past Lives too, which this was another really good book. Many Lives
Oh, yes, I've read that. Yeah, that is a very
Masters.
good book
Like,
by
I'm not seeing it. Oh, there we go.
Brian Weiss. I
It
got
just
that.
doesn't want to pick it up for some reason.
I
That's,
got it.
I guess I can't show them all my books then. I got a bunch of books over here, but but
So
yeah,
I want to get into how you started with Hello Ellie and the UAP Society.
yeah. So that was through an NDE podcast actually that started a Discord group. So one thing I guess with my whole conspiracy background, I was not on social media. I was just like
Mm,
really anti uh like cell phones. I barely would even use my phone that much. But so I don't know. I decided to join it. When I did join that, that led to Allie was in there. So we were in there, we were friends in that. And then she created her Discord,
okay.
which has grown at this point to, a little over 100. It's a private Discord group, but
Mm-hmm.
it's full of people, like-minded people who talk about all the stuff we're talking about right now, and there's no
Okay.
judgment, which that's something I was kind of dealing with in my personal life, is that I had nobody to talk to about any of this.
Right.
And then if I tried to, I was being judged. I was, getting negative feedback, and it just wasn't good or healthy for me. And so it was an awesome outlet for me to find these people and then create this friendship with Allie. So I ended up being a moderator there. And since then, we both also moderate over at UAP Society Discord. And then
Okay.
over the years, we're going on like year 3 with Hello Allie. But so in the span of 3 years, there's been the UAP Society YouTube, and then Hello Allie YouTube has recently started, like just this year. But well, no,
Okay.
recently in past recent months. But so we're doing a lot of stuff that, interviewing people and channelers and experiencers from, paranormal to UFO experiences. I want to say I feel like we've had a near death experience. We will have. I'm getting boggled in my mind, but yeah, I see so much, and now I'm actually doing the interview, so it's pretty funny. But
Wonderful.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
the
it's
universe
awesome,
is
and it's a way,
guiding you
it's
in
an
this.
outlet for me to
Yeah.
share, because I do have an intense need to share. So I'm super grateful to have this, what's, we've created together, a co-creation,
Right.
like you said, and it's just it's really magical, the whole process. And so I'm really grateful to be a part of it and to have like a way to tell others the excitement that I feel and that I want for everybody, really. Like,
Right. I hear you. I'm on the same boat as you are.
yeah,
You
you're
know,
doing it.
this podcast, I would call it divine inspiration that came to me because I'm a highly introverted person. If you asked me last year whether I would do this, like have a podcast and be interviewing people, I'd say you're crazy, you know?
Me
But
too.
yeah, but when the universe calls, you just have to answer, put the fear aside and just answer the call and go with the flow.
Yeah,
And the universe always has our back. So there's really nothing
100.
to be afraid of,
And
right?
speaking of that, through my challenging times, one of in my awakening process, I connected with my angels. I just said my angels, but it would be guardian angels, and
Mm-hmm.
what I would later call my spirit guides, like all of that. Why I chose this
Ah.
beautiful hawk here is because that is one of my spirit animals, that I've connected with a lot through my awakening. And I feel like everything is energy. We're
Mm-hmm.
all energy. There's an inner energy that comes from everything, and I think the hawk has helped me as far as being able to have the bigger picture, and I feel like there's a deep spiritual connection with the hawk in general. I don't know, but I connect with a lot of animals, so I will feel like it's spirit, or the universe connecting with me through
Mm-hmm.
animals, through
Mm-hmm.
signs, numbers, and to have that just constant awareness that everything's right here with us. You know what I mean? We can't see it, but we can get signs, and it's just follow the joy and the bliss and the connection, and to
Right.
keep the understanding and perspective right
Right.
on everything. And it's pretty easy not to like go back to where, if you were struggling, to go back to that, I think, once you
Right. I think once you open up spiritually, you just can't go back. It's like
No,
you can't unsee what you've just seen, right?
right.
So it's once you've opened up, it's just going to be a forward path. You just can't go
Yeah.
back because
Yeah,
your perspective has been expanded. So,
exactly.
right.
Exactly. And then everything with the UAP and the different things that are happening within the government. It's really interesting times, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like if there, is a veil, or whatever it is, it's thin right now,
It's
and like
thinning.
there's
Yep.
there's something definitely coming up, and you can see in multiple channelers say it, but something's coming up soon for us. A lot of things are going to change, so I'm looking forward to whatever it is. Like I was telling you earlier about is it somatics?
Somatic. Yep.
So,
Somatics.
and which is it's a sound frequency thing, but
Mm-hmm.
basically on a plate, the frequency that is played will create this beautiful shape, like a
Sacred
snowflake, or
geometry.
yeah, a
Yeah.
perfect geometry. But like in the change of the frequencies, it's just splattered out sand. It's a mess, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like we're in that vibration point where it's changing. So we are going to probably go through some challenging times, and I think that's
Mm-hmm.
the point of being able to come to the awareness or the awakening and the consciousness awareness of everything, to be able to withstand this shake-up time,
Right.
because it's going to turn into something absolutely like beautiful.
Yep. So let me shift to CE5, my favorite topic. So I know Hello Ellie, the YouTube channel, does CE5 like contact meditations. Correct me if
Yes.
I'm wrong. Okay.
Yes.
So I take it you have participated in that and share with us if you had any experiences with ET contact.
Yes, there's been once or twice where I did see in the sky moving lights that wouldn't was more likely, a UAP of some sort.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Recently?
but I would say it's probably a year ago. I did it. I started out doing it more open. Oh, I would sit back, do the meditation, but I wasn't going deep into over time. I went more into the meditation, so it was more third eye visions lately.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Before I was like trying to see the stuff in the sky,
Right.
thing. I kind of fell away from that. And I think a lot of us pretty much just were probably at their houses or wherever, but so it's more of a third eye
Mm-hmm.
visions that are being seen by others and myself. So I combine mine though with Wim Hof. I'm not an experienced meditator. So like basically I've gained whatever experience is through these C5 meditations basically. I
Okay.
delved before that a little bit into Wim Hof meditations. So I was doing that for a while, like in the same group. It was in Allie's group. There was a group of us that would do that together.
Okay.
Um, which at that time I would see ET faces as well.
Oh, very nice.
So I don't know, but so I combine the breathing with the C5. I just do my own thing, I guess. But the point of that, though, is you do want to, do a prayer of protection and intentions of having the highest love and light,
Mm-hmm.
beings of the highest love and light, and it's about assisting us in helping Earth and to
Mm-hmm.
increase its consciousness and vibration in a place of love. Just basically it's trying to co-create together with our galactic family of high higher dimensions, basically. I guess I see different things from animal faces. I saw the hawk a few times, like flying
Okay.
towards me. Just
Oh,
different
wow.
visions. Nothing too. I'm like I said, I'm not practiced, so I basically have gained what I've over time. But you get there's emotions at times that of like the feeling you can almost visualize because it's part of the meditation, like all of our lights coming together and like in these moments, like it's powerful, I guess is one way to put it.
So if people in the audience are interested to connect with Hello Ellie or UAP, how can they find you on your channels?
Well, hello Allie. Let me see. On the Discord, it's the is private for Hello Alley, but the UAP Society Discord is a public server, and
Okay.
a lot of people, over a time of getting to know people, have been invited from there into Hello Alley's
Okay.
Discord group. It's kind of how that works. Unless one of us sporadically meets somebody outside of all that, that happens as well.
What about
So
YouTube?
YouTube is Hello Alley YouTube, and UAP Society YouTube. So it's
Okay.
at Hello Alley or at UAP Society, and I'm at Light Being Love for mine.
Okay.
I have baby YouTube
Oh,
and
okay.
TikTok. I'm new to it all, but it's just a way for me to do like what I'm doing now with you. So I just try to spread this type of information through my two little channels that I have on TikTok and YouTube. But as far as the interviews and shows and things like that is through Hello Alley
Okay.
YouTube and UAP Society YouTube.
And
Yeah.
what's your handle on TikTok? Is it at Like Being Love too?
Yes, at
Okay.
Light Being Love.
Right.
Yeah. There's a 7 following that. So at Light Being Love 7 is the
TikTok?
yes,
Okay.
TikTok.
I'll put it in the
Mhm.
show notes so people can connect with you. So we
Yeah.
have a few minutes left. I have a signature closing question for all my guests. So you ready? I'm going to ask you the question right now.
Okay. I do have something written out for so I might kind of refer to that, but
Okay.
okay.
So the question is, what is your closing message for humanity to help in our collective healing and empowerment?
Okay. So it is probably a lot of what I've already said, but we'll just nail it all in real good. But it's know who and what you are in truth. You are an eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience. We each agreed to come to Earth, and we are proactive in choosing our lives and our circumstances to learn and grow from spiritually. We are love. We agreed to forget that when we incarnated here. To find our way back to love is the goal, which is very challenging in this duality that we live in. As we start to remember and know we are love, and we become aware that we are creators, we create through our thoughts, emotions, and intentions. We are continuously creating our reality, either consciously or unconsciously. When we become conscious creators, we forgive ourselves and others. We become free. We love ourselves, we love others, and we see the beauty of this experience. And we become grateful for it all. With this new perspective, we are able to evolve love and heal ourselves and the collective.
Oh, that's such a beautiful, deep, profound message. You should consider writing a book.
Oh,
Really, yeah, I really think you have the talent for writing.
oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you for this lovely message, and thank you for taking the time to talk with me today and share your perspective and your knowledge and wisdom. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Priscilla. And I send you love and everyone love that watches this.
Thank
So.
you. For everybody who's watching and listening, thank you for your time. And until next time, bye for now.